Okay, y'all, yay. Monday, over, yay. Beer 30. I tried all day long to put my thoughts without interrupting and damn phone falling off the fucking dash, and yeah. So here we are. We're going to try to recap all of this because it's kind of important. I have yet to find, and if anybody knows of a resource that's out there that gives adequate examples, kind of like how to recognize the narcissist for dummies, for people who get involved with these individuals and they can recognize this personality disorder or characteristic of it before they get emotionally and psychologically invested with this individual. There's got to be a book, something other than the DSM-5, which it's very it's scrubbed in a way. I have one. The definitions are they're it's obscured, so it's generic concepts. It doesn't give prime examples. The one thing that I would suggest, if you happen to meet somebody and you're kind of wondering, and yeah, they seem like they've got their head to, on their shoulders, and they seem pretty put together, but what is the dynamic of this interaction, right? So you're going on dates. Are you ever going to his house? Are you or her house, what have you? Check the inventory. Board games, probably, they don't like to lose. They get, especially males. If they win a board game, or if they lose a board game, any kind of board game, cards, things like that, they don't like to lose. So there's one good thing in that. Likely not going to be a gambler, because if they lose, it just sets them off, right? So we played a couple of board games and he could not stand to lose. That's one identifier of, and it depends, and you gotta look at the way they react when they lose. Do you get stonewalled? Do you get criticized? Do you get name called? Name calling is a number one. Anyone who has to resort to name calling on a personal level, that kind of thing, that's a good identifier. Name calling in general, like in the one video is basically saying they're sympathy predators. So they're looking for your compassion and your sympathy for all their problems that make them the victim, kind of thing. So when they're telling the stories, you got to pay attention. How they're wording it, that kind of thing. You see, he's probably not bashing the baby mama now, he's bashing me. Because I fought back, and that's how he ended up losing custody. I fought back against him. We both got in trouble. He lost custody. Courts never awarded it back. Because baby mama has learned how to drag this shit out. All the power to her. Drag that shit out until he's fucking 18 and he ain't got no case left. See, he had temper tantrums. Getting irate over small stuff. Insulting. Giving you shit about small stuff. Trying to generic, because I mean I can go into fucking details. I got several examples for each of these that I've dealt with. Helping the kid with math homework, and it was a word problem, and there was a final step, and what you had to do was divide it by 2, kind of thing, right? And then you get your answer. Yeah, he called me, no, that's the right thing. You're a fucking retard. Yeah, in front of the kid. Mm-hmm. Yep. And the kid was agreeing with me. No, you're right. You're right. You got to divide it by 2. And then he couldn't do the next one because he got intimidated because he stuck up for me. Dad took it out on him. Yeah, it turned into a fucking 3-way. Woo-hoo. Yep, kid was bawling his eyes out in his bedroom that night. He didn't blame me. He knew it was coming. Berating the kid about how to eat a chicken wing. God help me, if you ain't a professional fucking chicken wing or eater, you're going to hear it. Just putting it out there, especially with that guy. Petty shit. Petty shit. And just obnoxious response and ridicule for petty shit. This is stuff, it's not all the time. It just comes out of fucking nowhere. So you think everything's good, you make one mistake, it's boom, done. God, what was that one time at band camp? I'm trying to think, because there's so many different fucking incidences. We were going to his brother's. And you can get to his brother's 2 different ways. And the way I was going was the way that I knew. He berated me and insulted me and screamed at me, "Where the fuck you going?" "To your brother's." "Fucking go that way." I said, "You can go that way. Just fucking turn." Yeah, that kind of shit. Yeah. Unbelievable fucking obnoxious responses to things. This was, of course, after I was already, like, trauma bonded to him, tolerating the crap. But milder forms of that were evident prior to actually being trauma bonded to him. And it was those behaviors that were trauma bonding me. In little baby steps. Like, getting mad at me about something that, like, I can't remember. We were in the truck. A lot of this happened in a vehicle where you're trapped. Attitude occurs when you're trapped. You know that there's something going on behind your back when they're remarkably and unusually nice out of nowhere. That's how I started to figure it out. Ugly to you one day, and then all of a sudden, it's birds and butterflies, and they're all affectionate and loving on you, and yeah, yada yada yada. But then 2 days from then, you make one mistake and they're jumping your shit. You start to figure out the pattern. And you start to recognize, okay. And then you start to psychoanalyze and you start to study the day. Okay, this happened, that happened, this happened. Okay, nothing happened here. But then this little teeny thing happened, and then he lost his mind. And then he didn't talk to you for like 2 days. Even though you were there, you're like invisible, right? And then out of nowhere, he's all fucking lovey-dovey. That kind of shit. One of the things kid said, me and him were both on edge. Dude was asleep in the back seat. And he says to me, so we're coming back from amusement park. And he looks at me and he ticks. And I was like, you worried about him going off when we get home? He's like, yeah. I said, yeah, me too. He's like, he always ruins it. I was like, yeah, we have a great day. Father's Day. We had a great day. Got on a hiatus about something. Something totally insignificant. Or it was kind of significant, but it was petty, but it was also his fault. And he realized it afterward. When I said, yeah, I said, I don't know. You could have been a man. You could have done my oil change for me. You could have brought me the cardboard. So I didn't make a mess. But yell at me. Ruin the day. Because, God forbid, you do something for me. You know, that kind of thing. I knew it was Father's Day, and my truck did need an oil change, and I have no problem doing it myself. However, his driveway had not been treated. It needed a coat of fucking oil. However, it splashed a little bit, and it was no big deal. Just get some sand, throw it on there, it'll absorb it. Just like that. Driveway needed to be redone entirely, because asphalt was just literally like chipping everywhere. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah. Went off on me for getting oil on his driveway. That was crappy driveway. That, I mean, it's one thing if it's concrete and you get oil on it. But the driveway hadn't even been sealed in, probably 10 years. Almost. It was built in 2017, so yeah. Since they fucking owned it. Or, you know, it was built. It hadn't been sealed. Because it was busting all apart. He apologized to me like 2 days later. Don't worry about it. I came to him and I said, well, I found a way to get the oil off the driveway. He was like, don't worry about it. It just needs to get fucking sealed anyway. After he yelled at me and made me feel like shit. It wasn't on purpose. It was accidental. A little bit of negligence. But if he wanted it to be sparkling fucking clean job, why? I mean, I just gave him the best Father's Day, made him breakfast, everything, you know, whatever. He could have just done my oil for me. Could have. Said, you know what, it's Father's Day. I know it's your day, but I was like, I know it's my day, but you know, yours, you do need it done, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it for you. You got all the stuff. Yeah, I had all the stuff. You physically get under there and fucking do it. That kind of stuff. It's just, it's simple stuff. It's petty shit, and you don't see it. You're too enthralled in the limerence with the dopamine and the, you know, the flattery and the, you know, and he's actually, you know, he's an attractive guy. He's got his shit together, sort of. But what is going to happen, anybody that gets involved with him, they're going to go through this at some point. It may be first 3 months, might be first 6 months, might be the first 8 months, and then it's going to go back and forth. Somewhere between those 3 months, 6 months, and 8 months, he is going to fuck around. He is going to do something, extracurricular love life, or start grooming someone else behind your back. And he's going to have a backup plan. There's a lot of pattern recognition in there. A lot. You study. After a while, you get suspicious enough. Your intuition starts to go coinky-dink. You start wondering if what you're feeling is actually really what's happening. You start questioning your own sanity. He will crazy make you. You will be crazy by the time you leave it. The most sadistic thing that he used to do to me, and he created this, you know, he kind of, they create the anxiety and they turn you into a fucking lush in order to tolerate them. Because your nervous system is so hijacked that the only way to calm it down is to drink. So, what they do is they put you in a double-edged sword scenario. You come home from work. You know they're on their way home from work. You're edgy as fuck because you don't know what kind of mood they're going to be in. And you start to notice that your fucking anxiety starts to, you know, pop off. So you get a couple of drinks in you to pacify, to get the shit to calm down. Right? They come home. You don't know what mood they're going to be in. They might be lovey-dovey. They might be stern, pinch face, resting bitch face, not talking to you about their bad day, or they're just pissed off at the fact that you're still there and they haven't got the nerve to tell you they don't want this anymore. So you're there kind of like as a placeholder. Because, meanwhile, during the day, while they're at work, they're texting and entertaining someone new. And now, they're going to have an attitude and hopefully run you off. It's the reverse discard. Anywhere between 3 and 6 months. 6 weeks to 3 months. Depending on how lucrative you are to them. And then, the double-edged sword is this. You've already got alcohol in your system. And you realize that now you have the clarity. Now you're calmed down enough to be like, okay, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I wouldn't do that if I were you. Invest in a pair of Bluetooth earbuds. That would be my first suggestion. And so you can sleep. There's that. Because they'll sleep deprive you to make you nuts. He'd blast his music all night. The whole neighborhood would be fucking annoyed with him. But, you know, no one's going to say anything to him. They don't want bad neighbors because they don't know what bad neighbors are going to do. You know, that kind of thing. They don't want bad, you know, juju between neighbors. There's, but what he would do is if you decided, you know, after that couple of drinks, you're like, this is bullshit, I'm leaving. Right? Especially if he comes home with an attitude. He'll either charm you. Oh, you can't be leaving. You've been drinking. You know, acting like he's real fucking concerned. Or you risk you leaving, him calling the police and narking you out. Knowing your plate number. That's the malignant side of it. You're trapped in the dynamic. The night that I escaped, he was so fucking inebriated, he didn't even realize that his keys were missing. He didn't return to the truck for over 3 hours. He didn't even probably know where he was. He thought I was too drunk to fucking be able to keep up. I wasn't. You gotta fake the funk enough. So what he thought was like a pretty toxic gin and juice, and I was having anxiety the whole fucking drive down there. Those two little fireball shots that I had taken, because I had not eaten, hit me so hard. I think he drugged them. But it was like, boom. It's almost like I am like, my tolerance for that kind of thing, because I have anesthesia and everything else. It just, date rape drugs do not work on this one. Visine does not work on this one. I used it to my advantage and got the fuck out of there. And it was everything in my power, because I was still trauma bonded to him, to stay away from him. Trauma bonds are no fucking joke. And vulnerable narcissists are the worst of the worst, because they feed on your emotions. Now, malignant narcissists, women who get involved with these assets are basically, they're in a state of fucking desperation. And they stay because they got nowhere else to fucking go. And they tolerate it. Vulnerable narcissists are probably, I mean, outside of the benign narcissist. The benign narcissist actually has sympathy and empathy, but they're still a narcissist. They just expect you to just kowtow to whatever the fuck they want. And you're going to tolerate their bullshit. You ever see the movie Rockstar? Yeah, it's kind of like that. They're party animals. They don't give a shit. They'll fuck around on you and have absolutely no remorse for hurting you in the process. Be gone for 3 days, and when they show up, you're just supposed to welcome them with open arms. Malignants they're charming and they're controlling, and they will steamroll over you if you don't escape. And when you do escape, they will try to hunt you down and bring you back. Especially if they don't have anybody waiting in the wings for them to do that to. Covert vulnerables are the worst case scenario of narcissism that you could ever. And malignants, grandioses, child's play. I can whip those fuckers into submission in a heartbeat. I just insult them with their arrogance. They're fucking easy to detect. Covert vulnerables are not easy to detect. They know how to play the fucking game. And they will fucking destroy you. And if they have a malignancy or a petulant borderline attribute to their cluster B condition, they will fuck you up. Oh yeah, I got a PhD in that bullshit from that guy. There needs to be a book. Maybe I should write one. I don't know. I'm not that good. Somebody, hey, therapist, write a book. How to detect one of these fuckers before you get emotionally invested. I've given you the little tidbits. When the punishment doesn't fit the crime, the situation is petty and they're overreacting. They don't get their fucking way. They stonewall you for no fucking reason at all. Yeah, that kind of crap. And then they blame you for their misgivings. Like, yeah, my oil change was a little sloppy, but you know what? If you wanted it done right, you should have fucking done it yourself. Maybe you should man up and do my oil change for me for once. Like, real men know that women are capable of being able to do that kind of thing. Like, I can do my own, but real men won't let you. I knew right then, that day, that was 6 weeks. Well, no, almost 3 months. It was like hooked up in April, and it was June for Father's Day. That first Father's Day, I realized right then what I was fucking dealing with, and I had already bonded with the kid. Yep. Wouldn't be the first time I sacrificed my own fucking well-being for a child. I did it for my daughter. Yep. Got her out of the picture, went and moved her to my sister's, and my whole life fucking fell apart. So she would not have to see it. I stuck around for this one to make sure that kid was safe. But I wasn't about to let him take my whole life away from me. That was fucking work. Sleep deprived, oh my God, sleep deprivation was incredible. I remember there was one night on a pour, I was ticketed. I could not keep my eyes open. He loaded 6 trucks around me. They all knew what was going on. God, sorry. I got this. You know me and my eyelashes doing crazy fucking things again. Anyway, yeah, as long as they're not clumped and looking crazy. Yeah, it's bugging me. I'm seeing it in the camera. It's like, I need a comb. Anyway. But yeah, that's all I got. Yeah, someone needs to come out with a fucking book. How to Spot the Narcissist for Dummies. Because now we have a new victim. Pending. Yeah, he used the last one, so she would make up for all of his, lack thereof. so he could get his shoulder fixed. Once that was done, once the shoulder was fixed and he was able to come back to work, she was gone. That's how they work. All right, y'all. You have a great night. I'm going to go get me my second one. Should be cold by now. It's been in the freezer for 30 minutes. Peace out.